This final video is about wealth and poverty and CAFOD. Okay, so you could be asked about how Catholics should earn money, but also how they should spend money. Okay, how they should use their money. Now, pretty common sense with regards to how they should earn money, all right, and spend it and all that sort of stuff. Okay, once you've sort of looked at that, we look at whether doing the alternative to sort of these ideas, and finally then we'll have a look at the world, sort of like world poverty, the causes of it, and what CAFOD tries to do to sort of to correct those issues, if you want. So first things first, right, if you get asked to describe or explain Catholic views on wealth, okay, on the acquisition of wealth, on earning money, on using money, whatever it is, right, something along those lines. Remember, there's lots of variation in the way they phrase the question, WJC. So first things first, right? Catholics, when it comes to earning money, let's start with that one, right? When they earn their money, it should be a job that doesn't contradict our beliefs, okay? And the reason you can link this to is that teaching about not being hypocritical. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not what I say? So as an example of this, so like working for a company that is, I don't know, that doesn't protect human rights, or that it exploits people, or that is, I mean, it emits lots of greenhouse gases, the sort of CO2 emissions, that sort of thing, right? That it damages the world. So they shouldn't have a job like that, okay? So if you want to be specific, working on a nuclear power plant, okay? So, sorry, Homer Simpson, you're in a bit of trouble. Now, that's to do with sort of like how we earn our money, all right? You can also say about that we should use our God-given talents when it comes to earning money. So the reason for this is that you can link it to the parable of the talents, that God has given specific things to be able to do what's called good jobs. So it could be, I don't know, if you're a good-looking bloke like me, do you mean you could become a model? Or, obviously I'm joking, okay, a face like this, that's why I'm an RE teacher. So, you can, if you're a good sort of like public speaker or whatever, that you could say, right, become a teacher, that would work, and you could serve God that way. Now, that's sort of when it comes to sort of earning money. Now, using money, well, number one, we should use our money to prioritize serving God, okay? And you can link this to the parable of the poor widow, not a parable, sorry, the example of the poor widow, okay, it's not a parable, sorry, it's just an example that Jesus uses, who gave what's called a donation, something that was a small amount, but it was all that she had. It's the idea that doing whatever sort of that we're doing or using our money should link to sort of serving God. So Catholics, what's called, if you think about it, they should use what they need to support themselves, and then they should use their money, what's called, in service of God, whether that be through supporting different things or by supporting people, okay? Now, when it comes to sort of acquisition of wealth, right, that you should be more focused on serving God than serving money, or earning money is a better way to phrase it. And so the reason that you say this is Jesus taught to store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. So if you can't remember that teaching, you can just say Jesus taught us the importance of ensuring that we try and gain our way into heaven rather than earning money. So the type of things, what's called the impact that might have on people's lives, is that they should be more focused on finding a balance in their life where they can serve God as well as earn money. All right, so a specific example might be that, like, they should avoid working on a Sunday so they can attend mass, all right, so that their job doesn't get in the way of serving and worshipping God. And yeah, they should use their money to prioritize helping those in need. You can link that to the idea of the Good Samaritan. You can talk about CAFOD and that type of thing, right? Now, alternative, right? So it doesn't matter what job you have. So if you get asked a question like that, you can say, yes, it does, for all those reasons I've just said. But the reason why it doesn't matter what job we have, you could say that when it comes to, instead of using your money to serve God, there are other ways to serve God. And you talk about all the different ways you can do it in your life, okay? Through your social life, through raising your family, all that sort of stuff, right? And I mean, sometimes you just need to have a job, whoever, to be able to provide for others. And this is sort of links to your second point, is that in today's society where work isn't easy to come by, there are sometimes some people find themselves in a position where they have to take a job, regardless sort of what it is, to be able to support themselves and provide for their families. And the reason for that is that they have to they see that as their role and their responsibility to do so, so they would select to do that. So therefore they would be willing to take a job, all right, that maybe doesn't fall in line with sort of God's plan, all right? So, as you know, working for like a power plant, that sort of stuff, might harm the environment, might harm the world, but needs must. And sort of the final thing is that you could say that it doesn't matter what job you have, because actually, I mean, you could work for a company that doesn't, I don't know, exploits people, whatever, that sort of thing, and that you can allow your sort of beliefs to motivate you to make changes from within. All right, so I don't know, working in a school, sometimes like recycling. Here we are. Let's say you work in a school, that recycling isn't a big deal. Okay, well, from within, you could try and improve sort of school approaches to recycling, so that doing it becomes more environmentally friendly, so that you fulfill your sort of responsibility as a steward for the world. Now, so that's sort of like about how Catholics should earn and use their money. But money itself, right, you could be asked a question about debt, and then about a charity sort of like fights against this. Now, they could talk about debt, they could talk about social injustice, whatever it is, right? But you need to be ready to sort of speak about these things. So, first things first, if you asked about the causes of world debt, natural disasters, number one, sort of the cost and of the cleanup, and that it wipes out sort of like crops, all that sort of stuff. Debt, repayment of debt, however, that countries can't afford to do it, can't afford to reinvest in their country as a result, never get out. It's just a one big cycle of poverty. Wars, the cost of the actual war itself, ammunition, all sort of stuff, but also the cleanup cost. Unfair trade, countries getting ripped off. HIV and AIDS, you can say about the fact that medical cost and the death of like a generation or workforce, whatever it is, it doesn't mean the country can have a sustainable sort of like economy. A lack of education. So it means that, like, if you're, I don't know, let's say your father is a poor farmer, there's a very good chance that you will be a poor farmer, and that your son would be a poor farmer as well. So there's that sort of that chain that needs to be broken, but it can't, because there's a lack of education. So can't change these sort of jobs, just do what they know, essentially. Lack of clean water. So this has a big issue because it causes, obviously, people to die from dehydration, that sort of thing, but also the spread of disease, things like malaria, that wipes people out, malaria, okay? So then the final one is relying on single exports. This is quite a big one. So it's like putting all your eggs into one basket and then dropping a basket, okay? All your eggs are broken. Now, same thing here. So like if you're a crop farmer, all right, and if there's drought or there's a flood and you've only got that one thing to sell, then that's wiped your potential profits out, wiped your funds out. So relying on that single export is a big sort of issue. Now, I think that happens in Wales, like, I mean, you can think about places in the valleys, all right? This is me speaking from the valleys originally, that in some places that really relied on whether it be coal or steel, and as a result now, with those sort of two industries closing down in those areas, that there is a lot of sort of poverty or unemployment in those areas. It isn't just, these aren't just issues that happen in the developing world, I mean, they're happening here with us in Wales. Now, CAFOD, okay, so you could be asked about what CAFOD does to sort of like fight against this. Now, I've talked about this on another video, but if you just remember now that they need to make short-term change, all right, they need to make long-term change, and then finally they need to make sustainable change, okay? So if you sort of think about it that way, and I'll break it down here now for you. So first things first. They need to make short-term change when there are disasters and emergencies. They need to respond to them. Okay. Now, when it comes to this is because for all of these answers, you just draw upon the why we should show love to others. Okay, love thy neighbor, golden rule, parables of sheep and the goat, and good Samaritan, that sort of stuff. Right. So you draw upon those in your explanations, but the sort of the specifics. So they respond to disasters and emergency. So you would say about basic medical supplies. You talk about shelters, that sort of stuff. Then that's done it short term. Brilliant. Right. We want to make long-term change. Well, if we want to make long-term change, you need the leaders on board, right? Leaders, countries. So they raise awareness. And the type of things they do to raise awareness, they use their websites, all right? Sorry, I've said the wrong thing here. When it comes to raise awareness, that's about getting everybody on side, sorry. So they raise awareness to try and get all people on side. Right, so your point is, whether they raise awareness to get all people on side. The type of things they do to raise awareness is you've got their website, okay, they've got things like their social media account, you've got the Friday newspaper. It helps to raise awareness to all people to sort of try and inspire them or motivate them to get involved as well. Right, but if you want to make other changes, sort of links back to what I was just about to say before I got confused, that they also need to get the leaders on side as well. So they campaign for social justice, okay? They campaign against governments to get the governments to support countries in need, countries in poverty. Type of things they would do is sort of signing petitions or going out with placards and actually campaigning, or you could say about that. I mean, that's sort of the main ways they do it, all right? You could say about supporting movements and stuff like that as well, like fair trade or whatever, that sort of links with it too. But you also got to remember that they've got to help the people in the country as well. Do you mean they've got to help them, particularly those who rely on a single export? So they provide training and development programs and education programs to be able to sort of train people to do different jobs, or to train people who are, I don't know, rely on growing crops, to train them to be able to raise livestock to sell or something like that, and on their land, so they don't have to just rely on one thing. Gives them more chance of making money. Now, that deals with most of it, but they want to keep this going. They don't want it just to be changed for now, they want it to be changed forever. Well, there's going to come a point where people people my age and older, they're going to pass away, and we need to keep this going. So CAFOD know this, and they want the young people on board. So what they do is that they provide educational resources. And the reason they do this, all right, is that they want the next generation to ensure that poverty issues are overcome. So the type of things they do is that they create like educational resources, DVDs, posters, all that sort of stuff, and they send them into schools so that people like me can use them to be able to sort of motivate you and to teach you about the need to support those who are living in poverty. Okay, thank you very much for watching.